Welcome to another Never Give Up podcast. And I think this is our 17th one, and we're really pulling through, George. We got Kavita here. Kavita is my sales manager. Little background with her. I pushed her to go into real estate. And since then, she's been just pushing through a full-time mom, a full-time realtor, and a full-time babysitter. I don't know what you want to call yourself, but she wears
An older
amazing
sister I never knew I
hats.
needed from the other two I have.
She wears a lot of hats and dealing with me as well, but I wanted to bring her on today just to kind of get her experience. And she was in designing before and basically quit and then didn't know what to do. And then after that, I said, hey, just help me out. And then after that, it was a long pursuit into real estate. And I wanted to get her mindset. Like, what was that going through college, going through a career, which she was traveling a lot, and then all of a sudden making a big change into where she's right now? What was her mindset? What was her journey? What was her story? So, Kavita, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, guys?
What's
Thank
up?
you. This is very exciting. I feel like I finally made it.
Yes, you did.
I
We-
did.
Yes, you did.
1 million views. 1 million views.
Awesome. Yeah. So, brief story about me. Like Ravi mentioned, I come from corporate background. Yes, designing, production management, international marketing background. And I worked for, a small private design firm for a while and early 20s, fresh out of college. And then, I woke up one day and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And, I was one of the smart ones. I always tell my clients, I tell them the story. I'm like, I was one of the smart ones when everybody else was getting out of real estate. That's when I came into real estate. And I have not looked back ever since. And it kind of just got thrown into the fire. Rami likes to do just kind of throw you in there and hope you figure out how to swim and make your way to the shore. So it was one of those situations, but one of the decisions I ever made of my life, especially looking back at it now, being a mom of two, running my own business at the end of the day, and just having the liberty and time and the leverage to be able to do what I want to do with my children and in my life. So
It hasn't been easy, obviously, right?
God, no.
You made it so easy. Like, I want to rejoin real estate again. Let's do this again, right? But I know it hasn't been easy for you because we've been working along for so long. And let's dig into the days that you wanted to quit, the days that you were, you wasn't making any sales. Let's go to that, right? I mean, there's a lot of realtors right now or in their journey in investments and whatever they're going through. What was it, your mindset at that time, and what made you pull through? What made you get out of that?
I mean, if I look back at my journey, it's been up and down, up and down, up and down, right? And Rami, you and I, we go way back, so you know exactly what my P&L has been from day one. So there have been days, months, years where I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I should just go get a full-time job. And one of the most recent times was probably right after I gave birth to my second daughter in 2018 when I came back, because I had her in 2017 and I took some time off and I came back in 2018. And that the beginning of 2018 was like a deciding factor for me personally, right? What do I want to do with my life? Do I want to continue doing this, pursue this dream of self-employment, this dream of being an entrepreneur, this dream of just wanting to do my own thing, right? And that was the year where in the first 6 months after I came back, I had one sale of like, I don't even know what price it was, but I literally 6 months in, I had only had one sale. And I remember just sitting there and crying my eyes out and just like bawling away. And I think I had to really ask myself that question, like, okay, if you want this, you have to do something about it. No one is going to come and save you. No one is going to come and do this work for you, right? And if that's what you want, go get a 9-to-5 job. And I had opened up to my husband and I said, what should I do? And he's like, do what makes you happy at the end of the day. He's like, if you want to go get a full-time job, understand the pros and cons behind it. You're not going to have the time. You're not going to have the leverage of working from home and taking time off as needed with 2 young kids. He's like, yes, but then you will have a steady income coming in. But if you want the leverage and the opportunity of what this business has given you so far, he's like, then give it your 100%. He's like, I'm here. We have a great support system, people who are helping us with our children. He's like, take advantage of it and give it your 100%, but don't half-ass it, right? That's like, I don't know if I can say that, but
We could
You can, fine.
Okay.
We've been fucking cursing here a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
You won't fucking do it. It's fine.
So he's like, just don't fucking half-ass it, right? And
Mhm.
give it your 100%. He's like, so whether you come home, he's like, whether you do 10 sales a year or 20 sales, he's like, but give it your 100%. And I don't think I've looked back ever since that moment. That was a defining moment for me, not just as a realtor, but it was a defining moment for me as a business owner, as a mom, first off. Like, hey, I got to do this because I need to set an example for my kids. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you
Awesome.
find yourself reminding yourself of that when you get to like the points of, it's been like 4 years since then, the market's been crazy again. Have you find yourself like constantly going back to the moments like, yeah, all right, let's keep going. Let's
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, I have little tales that I put reminders for myself. And one of them I actually shared with a picture with a past client of mine. It's a little thank you note that a client of mine had written to me a couple of years ago. They gave this to me, and I've kept this on my desk ever since. And I always keep in my folder. I carry it with me because it talked about, they basically thanked me because of their journey that they went through when they were in process of buying. And it literally took us, I think, 4 years before they actually found a home and they bought a home. But I was with them throughout that 4-year process, and the journey kind of happened in midst of me trying to figure out who I was also and how I wanted to overcome that. So yeah, these little things, they remind me of, where I came from and what potential I have.
Awesome. And is it like, a lot of people that are listening right now, and I don't want to say this, but I think it is a little bit more difficult for mom, full-time
Oh,
mom.
hands down,
Huh?
hands down,
Yeah.
hands down. You don't even need to finish the sentence, and I can talk, right? Because it is mom, wife, and you are running your own business. It is 10 times harder. And I'm sorry to say, you guys will never comprehend, what we have to juggle, what sacrifices we're making just to make that one task, to finish up that one task, right? And no offense to you guys, right? Like, no offense to you.
No. And I don't want to leave anybody out because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of single fathers, working fathers too as well, and they're taking care of their significant other. I just wanted to point out that, I'm going to speak for myself. I have one thing to do, provide for the family, be in the yard, make sure my kids go to certain places, right? And that's about it. So, and coming from a working individual that's doing all this stuff, like, yes, you could definitely juggle this, but I mean, is it like you have to remind yourself every single day saying that I want to do this? Obviously you don't have to, but I want to. Or some people have to do it, right? Let's just take any scenario.
Yeah.
Like, what is a mindset that you go through when you say, hey, I can't give up? Because obviously you want to focus on your career, right? You want to, I tell my wife is, I said, just be the greatest mom, that's a full-time job. And I can't, she was sick for 2 days. I'm like, I can't do this shit. You need to get better.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, how much time do you want to give? So whether it's raising a child or taking care of your family, parents, husband, whatever it is, or conducting a business, it's a choice that a person has to make as to how successful they want to be at it. Now, in my opinion, is everyone's definition of success is different.
Yeah.
And my definition of it may not be the same as for you, Rami, right? Or it may not be at the same level, but that's for me. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. There are many days where, you just wake up and you're like, oh, I can't do this, right? However, I feel that little reminders as to why I'm doing what I do, right? My job as a mom is, number one, mom, right? Be the most amazing mom as I can be to my kids. Be there for them, for their needs, whatever it may be. That's my number one job. Number two is going to be my work. And then follows my husband and everyone else, right? But second thing is my work. Why? Why my work? Because at the end of the day, I want to put a roof over my kids' head. I want to provide them what I never had. I come, you and I, it's the same story. Our parents were kids of immigrant parents who migrated to this country so their children can have a better future. And it's now our job, after going to school to this country and having this opportunity in front of us, to make sure that our kids get the same, not the same, but better opportunities than what we have.
Yeah. And to speak on that, because as you guys are on the parent stage, my parents are the ones that came. And so I'm like, when your children are my age, they're going to be thinking about this because you're put in that position.
Exactly.
And I saw them work 2-3 jobs. I saw all that happen and all the work they put in. My mom put in. She went to full-time school, got 2 masters, took care of me, and still went and cooked every day. Like all that. And to this day, she's like, you're lucky. What you gotta do? I did what I got to do. I'm chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, sometimes I sit back and then now, I'm going through my kids. It's just like, okay, I go to school, I come back. It was like, no, know. At 13, I was pumping gas and cleaning windshield wipers. Like, my dad's like, "Oh, you going to work?"
Mhm.
I'm like, "Okay." I made
And
a
I
little extra on the side, and that's what we did. And it's just weird that the new generation, obviously, they're in more technology and all that. They'll figure it out on their own. But with us, we definitely had to work hard and not just say, "Hey, okay, this is it." And I think it goes back to what Kavita says. It's a choice that she's making every single day.
Yeah.
I make a choice. I make a choice. I make a choice to do this. I make a choice to do that. And everybody has that, right? Everybody's sitting back and have that choices that you have to make in every single day. And it could go from anything. So Kavita, going back to you and I'm going to come back to that point. I'm going to give you a quick little story about something, about building something, but I want to focus on Kavita today. So what is it that you talked about your journey from the beginning, went to college and spent all the money, made no use for it, went to real estate, made good money, but obviously had some tough times around the baby was born, and now you're coming back out of it. When you sit back right now, and I hate going back, but I think it's good to go back and say, these are things I would have changed just a little bit as I move forward. Is it the mindset? Is it the skill set? Is it that I needed to concentrate a little bit more? What would you have changed to where you could have gotten here faster because you're here already? And for anyone that's listening, like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to concentrate on.
Yeah, and that's a great question. I mean, to be honest, when I do sit back and look back at my journey, do I regret things? I don't like the word regret. I hate using the word regret. Would I have done things differently? I think so. What I would have done differently is my eagerness, right? When I first got into real estate, those first couple of years before I got married and started a family, I think instead of me slacking off or just living for that moment because, I was making good money, living for that moment, enjoying partying, vacationing. Instead of doing all of that, I think if I had an opportunity or if I had someone to sit me down and really, really talk to me, had a real talk like I'm doing today, I would have liked to been a little bit more serious about my business at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
I think a lot of the people in real estate are not taking it very serious. It's funny we talk about that, but that's a great point. And I want you guys to take it away because, again, I think when you are an entrepreneur and you're building your legacy and you're building, a never give up mindset, it's that let me take this serious now because I don't want to have regrets for the future. So let's talk about that now.
Yeah.
What are something that you want to say something to yourself in the near future, right? Hey, let's keep this up. Let's keep doing this.
Yeah.
Or what would you tell the near future, Kavita, tomorrow, the entrepreneur, the mom?
I think for my future self, all I would say is, dude, you made it. Like, you freaking made it. And it's the journey that made me who I am today or who I will be tomorrow. I just have to continue on that path every single day, without having to guess myself. And I think as realtors or even self-employed entrepreneurs, we second guess ourselves a lot, right? And a lot of it has to do because we want to be people pleasers. We want people to like us at the end of the day. Like, I want people to like me. And as much as my personality is like, I don't care what this person says about me. And, sometimes I bitch and moan about it. But the truth is I do want people to like me. I do want people to see me as human and appreciate the work that I'm putting in. So yeah, that's the only thing.
George?
As you were saying, I was thinking the same thing too, because we're similar in that aspect. Is like Kavita, I mean, I'm a big people pleaser too. We talked about it before. And when we talk on the phone, you give me the hard truth every single time. You're throwing me, you're raising, I'm like, oh, she's right, I gotta be more assertive, I gotta be more on top of my stuff. And it's interesting hearing you say that because I wouldn't even think that because of the conversations we have. I look up to you in a certain instance for how I should interact with people and not care what they think, but understand that I'm here to provide a service and help them and not like be walked on at times. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, listen, everybody, as for realtors, they think we were worth it than a car salesman. Right?
Yes.
That's the end of the day. That's what they think they are. Anybody could be a realtor, so guess what? Anybody could do it, but not everybody knows less than 5% make any kind of income, any kind of production at all, and top 2% make any kind of wealth out of this. So 98% of the people are just barely surviving. And that says that, obviously our team and us are in that position where we're always improving. Before we end this, Kavita, what is it that you will tell an entrepreneur, individual like yourself in this position right now? And again, these are the things that a lot of them are facing. Is it the mindset? Is it more training? Is it more reading books? Is it journaling? Is it getting up early? Like, what is it that somebody could just take away away a little nugget from you today and
Mhm.
say, hey, don't give up on your dreams and implement this. So from your experience.
I think from my experience, the only thing I would, if I am to give advice to someone, not that, I'm not as successful as some of these other guys are in the industry, but whatever little success that I have accomplished in this industry, the one thing I have taken away, and if somebody else wants to learn from it, respect. Do not deviate from respecting your peers. No matter how terrible a transaction can be, don't lose that respect. Don't forget to give that individual the respect that they deserve as a human being.
Awesome.
That's number one. Number two is on a day-to-day format. And I think I've had this conversation with George many times. Calendar, write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down. Because for me, especially now, and I wish I would have taken things more seriously when I was younger, but especially now, if it's not in my calendar, it does not exist. And thank you so much, Rami, for drilling that in my head year after year after year, because I'm at a point where my workout, my walks, everything is in my calendar. Like I have a small little calendar on my desk over here. It's written down on it. I have it on my phone. I have alarm for it, because if it's not there, it's not going to happen.
And that is so true. And I took that away from somebody else, and I'm going to give this person a credit too as well. And basically we were in the mastermind group, and I was just frustrated with, I think, so many plates in the air and so many things that are happening. And even now there's so many things. And now I go back to the basic, could be to like put a line in the middle. What's important, what's not important. I got now 4 pages instead of 1 pages because there's so many things that are happening. And the guy said, okay, great. Let me see your calendar. And literally half of my calendar was blank. And he goes, you don't have a business. And I'm like, what? Yes, I do. I do this, I do that. Egoism, pride coming out at that time. I make these many sales. Again, ego and pride coming out. He's like, well, you really don't have a business because nothing's in your calendar, and nothing, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. So it could be a written calendar. It could be, I like electric calendars, like Google, but it has to exist somewhere because you don't have to think. And I think that's what we've been talking about in a business and any company that is out there. When you have to think too much, then guess what? You're not going to be more productive. When you have to be, there's a thinking process. That's something completely different what I'm talking about, but really what you have to do on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for sharing that, Kavita. And I want to finish off with one little story real quickly, guys. And it's what Kavita said before, what we are providing for the next family, what we're providing for the next family. And it's kind of funny, it's happening to us again, but there's always some bird coming in and putting a nest right in front of my door, and they're just making a mess. But thinking about what she just said to me, it's like the next generation is getting provided from the current generation, right? Yeah. So what are we setting up ourselves for? What are we doing right now? How are you bettering yourself? And if you can't make an effect to anyone, I think first you have to self-respect, look at yourself and say, hey, I am the shining being, and now I'm going to show you how to do it. And when they're building this, and it's just beautiful, right? Because every single day they're bringing this little dirt and building this nest. What are we doing right now, right? Even if you are an entrepreneur and this podcast is about not giving up, you're putting that next step in, you're putting the next mindset in, not only to yourself and people around you and the next generation that is coming. So keep that up, guys. Keep pushing for what you had to survive for. And you're going to face a hardship. You're going to face, things like people want to quit just for no reason and hard stuff that was happening. I shared something happened to me last week, and that's okay, right? But the bottom line is come out of that as another day and live in omnipresent, live in now, so that way you could just enjoy what you have and keep pushing. Thank you guys for another episode of podcast.